I thought it was gonna be like in person though, so that's
No,
why.
I must have just misspoke. I thought I said I was going to do it over. I think that's why I must have. I mean, we were talking kind of fast, and we were at work, so it's not a
Yeah.
big deal. But no, when I get my new place, my office is going to be twice this size. This is a really small room. Like I can almost touch the sides of the walls. Like I mean, it's like a foot on each side of my hand, and it's the walls. So, but my new place it's going to be like 60% bigger than this. So it's kind of far. But if you ever want to come out and do one in person, I'm going to have the space and the chairs. It's all set up. It's going to be badass. And I'm going to have like a 2 to 3 person theater in that office too. So I'm going to have a nice setup. I already have surround sound in here with like a nice ass TV. So we'll see how it goes, man. But it's going to be dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let me do my little spiel and we'll get this party started.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the Movie Night Podcast. I got a special guest, man. This is Kennah. We work together at Alamo Draft House, and she is a fan of horror movies. And when I found that out, I was like, what's up, dude? And so, I mean, we were friendly at work anyways, but once I found out that she liked some of the same movies as I did, it was nice to have a fresh face on the show. And I asked her if she wanted to do an episode at least and see if she liked it. And she said, yeah. And so here we are. So thank you for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's go. Well, dude, it's funny too because the thing that we kind of clicked about real fast was Terrifier. We both are fans of it. We both had that same, like, I'm not gonna say gatekeepery, but like we're both like, man, that's our movie, bro. Like that kind of feeling. And so we wanted to talk today about like Terrifier 1 and 2 have been beaten to the ground. Everybody talks about them all the time, and it was like, idea. Let's talk about All Hallows Eve, a movie that doesn't get near as much love as the Terrifier movies, and it's the origin of Art the Clown. Honestly, after rewatching it, I got a lot to say about it, man. So, when was the first time that you watched it?
I watched it after I watched Terrifier 1 and 2 because I didn't know it was like a part of the series.
The same lore?
Yeah, so I found out about it from watching sorry about that.
It's all right.
Watching an interview with Damien Leone.
Okay.
He was talking about it. So sometime after Terrifier 2 came out, that's when I watched it.
See, I watched Terrifier 1 quite a while ago. We were talking about it at the theater the other day, and I watched it. I mean, I've been around doing this stuff for a long time, and I didn't even like it when I first watched it, but I did watch it eventually. But it was about, I think it was 2018 is when I actually watched it. I said 2017 the other day. I think it was 2018. My shop had been open, so I know it was around that time. But I don't even remember. Oh, I know how I was Googling Terrifier stuff like way back before I'd ever even talked to David Howard Thornton. And I got All Hallows Eve, and it kind of blew my mind because I like anthology movies. And so I was like, oh, it's an anthology. I think I might have been doing research for when I was going to talk to him. I found out about it pretty soon after Terrifier 1 had been watched. But I only watched it, I think, twice, and it was a long time ago. So when I brought this up, I was like, I gotta go rewatch this. And then I found out it was on, like, I thought I had a copy. I don't, which kind of surprised me. So I rented it on Amazon. It's like $2 or something. And I gotta say, man, it's one of those movies to where if you watch Terrifier 2 and then you go back to watch this and you're expecting Terrifier 2 out of it, you're gonna be sorely disappointed.
Yeah,
it's much more closer to Terrifier 1, and it's still not even quite that extreme, although there are a couple of really good scenes in it. But I mean, this is like uber low budget, man. This is like like really, really low budget. I actually reached out to the dude that played Art, and I'm waiting to hear back. I want to see if he'll do the podcast with me. And
his name's Mike, right?
Yeah. I can't remember his last name, but I emailed him yesterday, actually, after I watched the movie. And because I'd like to get his perspective on all this stuff, man, because Art the Clown at this point, how do you feel about Art? Do you think he's up there with the other horror movie icons yet? I kind of think he hit that point this past year.
Yeah, I think so. I think he will be eventually. Like, it might take some time because like Terrifier 2 is much bigger than Terrifier 1. Like, even
like crazy. You know, they're bringing the first one back to the theaters.
I did. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, if they have it at Alamo, you know we're going to be up in that hoe every day. Let's go. Oh, man.
I don't know if they will play it there.
I mean, they played Terrifier 2 there. And it was there it outlasted Halloween Ends. It was there for a week long. Yeah, it was there for a whole week longer. I remember whenever whenever we were getting the what is it called? Whenever they were bringing they gave us the list of movies that we were going to get for that week. It didn't have Terrifier 2 included, and I was really pissed off. And I sent some emails, and I'd already bought a bunch of tickets for other theaters. I'm like, look, dude, here's screenshots. I've got tickets. I work here, and I can't see it. I got to go somewhere else to watch it. This sucks. And then it came out. They got it in, and it outlasted a pretty major franchise. I thought that was pretty awesome.
They might do it for like the graveyard shift.
That would actually be a really good idea.
Yeah,
that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, maybe we can talk to them about that.
So, with All Hallows Eve, I was watching it, and that little boy that's watching the movies, and he's like, everything that gross happens, he's like, yeah. I literally wrote down the boy watching the VHS tape. ... That's me. LOL. Like that's exactly how I behaved when I was a kid. Like, don't watch that. I'm like, I gotta see it. Is it gross?
I was so the opposite. I was like scared of everything. Oh yeah.
When did you pop into horror? Like, when did you get into horror movies?
That's a good question.
You're pretty young, aren't you? Like 20 years old?
I'm 22.
22, so you're really young compared to me.
Yeah.
So like, so you've probably only been into horror movies for, I'd say, like what, 5 years or at the most?
Oh no way.
No, only a couple of years.
Like I think when I first started getting into it was Insidious. So when was that? Like 2014?
Yeah, it was 2013 even, I think. So you've been watching them since you were a kid?
Yeah, but I was like really terrified of like scary movies. I would like watch them with friends and stuff.
Okay. That's the best way to do it, is be getting scared by them, and then you kind of get a little desensitized, and then it becomes like just something that you enjoy.
I got desensitized very quickly. The first scary movie I ever watched was Poltergeist. If you could even call that a scary movie.
That holds up. I think Poltergeist, personally, I personally think that Poltergeist is scarier than The Exorcist. Personally,
okay, I don't agree with that, but
no, dude, I don't understand how anybody look. I'm not gonna sit here and bash The Exorcist. I do plenty of that on this channel, but like, I don't understand how anybody's ever thought that movie was scary. It's so just boring.
The Exorcist.
Yeah, my kid just watched it with me, and he's 10, and he was like, "What?"
I feel like there's some good body horror, like the hospital scenes when she's like getting an MRI or whatever. Like that was.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely. And I'm claustrophobic, so. Here's the thing. I have to be objective about it if I'm going to do like reviews and such. And I try to be. When I watched it with my kiddo, that was the most fun I'd had watching it. And because I was watching him watch it almost as much as I was trying to watch the film. So I definitely enjoyed it more this past time, which I hated having to admit that to my buddies because they know how much I don't like that movie. But it is what it is, man.
What also scared me, I mean, I know we're not supposed to be talking about this.
Oh, no, just whatever. Talk about whatever.
The demon. What was his name?
When
they would like flash his face, like that was scary to me.
Yeah, I don't know,
like
man.
Pazuzu or something.
Yes, yeah. Like is it Pazuzu? I think it was Pazuzu.
Yeah.
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 Pazuzu. Yeah, I was just double checking. I mean, so by the time I had watched that movie, I'd already seen stuff like Texas Chainsaw and Nightmare on Elm Street, which definitely messed me up. And so, because I was a kid when I watched all that stuff. So by the time I got to The Exorcist, I think I was already just kind of like, okay, I need something crazy or it's not going to affect me. And shoot, I don't even know when I watched that for the first time. It was way late. So, you know, I do tip my cap to it at this point. I used to just crap on that movie and be like, man, it sucks, man. But, you know, whatever. You didn't work today, huh?
No.
Let's see here. That was a totally random ass question. I had a reason why I was going to ask it, but then I just forgot because I'm old.
Did something happen at work today or something?
Oh, not that I know of. I'm waiting on our schedules to get dropped.
Me too, yeah.
I wrote down a couple of things that I wanted to talk about real quick about All Hallows Eve. One, the main thing is I wrote down, it's weird seeing someone else as Art the Clown. It looks like someone cosplaying as Art the Clown. Like his whole entire body is shaped different. So when I was watching it, and maybe I had this realization that maybe I was like pissed at David for not getting back to me fast enough, which is stupid, right? Because I was thinking in it like, oh man, I kind of like this a little better. And I think the only reason that I would even think that, because it's just not true. It's just not, because they're very different, is because it's something a little newer. Because I've seen Terrifier 1, I don't know, a dozen times or so. I've seen Terrifier 2 like 5. So like this is something that's still kind of fresh. So I think in hindsight, that's really what I was feeling. But bruised ego has probably got a little bit to do with that. I'm not going to act like I wasn't feeling some kind of way about that. It is what it is. I am human as well. So, but it was so weird seeing this dude as Art the Clown.
I agree.
Like he's like not even like a skinny dude. Like he's like kind of a regular sized fella, and David's real skinny. So like the whole silhouette is different.
It didn't work as well for me. I don't
No.
think. No. Well, it's also just like the physicality of it. Like David Howard Thornton does it better.
He does a lot of stuff with movement. A lot.
Yeah. And I remember David saying in an interview that he was like the understudy for the actor who played Robbie Rotten on Lazy Town in like a Dr. Seuss musical, and so he like learned a lot from him. I don't know. Do you know about Lazy Town at all?
I don't. I was gonna ask you. I was like, what is that?
You have kids. It's like a kids show from like when I was a kid.
Okay.
And
yeah, I missed a whole like 2 or 3 generations of kid stuff because I didn't have kids till I was at 30, and then I still don't pay attention to kid stuff enough. I'm a terrible dad.
Yeah,
I'm watching Insidious instead of kid stuff with my child.
No, that's better.
It is, dude. Dude, he's so stoked for this new Insidious movie. He's so pumped.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too.
Yeah. You know what? Do what?
I was just gonna say, I think that watching scary movies is healthy.
Oh man, I explain why it would be healthy. I don't disagree. I'm just curious.
I think it like makes you stronger, and I feel like I was reading something about how it can like it makes you like less scared of the world because you feel like you can like take on these things. It was actually like Jordan Peele's production company, Monkey Paw. They like made a TikTok about it. So,
dude,
yeah,
man, that's awesome. And this is exactly why I wanted to talk to you, because you're gonna have we aren't the same person, so we have a lot of different interests and things. And you've watched stuff that I clearly haven't watched. I didn't know. I'd never heard of that before, but it makes perfect sense. That's awesome. That's exactly why I asked what you meant by that, because I was thinking from a different perspective completely. So that makes a lot of sense that you would be able to face your fears by watching stuff that you know is going to get you nervous or uncomfortable, and by doing that, it gives you strength on the outside world and like the real world. That's a whole ass podcast episode right there.
Well, like I used to be so scared of everything.
Really?
When I was younger, and like the more scary things I watched, the more like I just wasn't as scared of the world anymore. I don't know why. But
do you know what caused your fears to begin with? Was it because you were sheltered or something, or was it just because
I think I was sheltered, but also like do you know that show, The First 48?
I do, yes. I actually
that was like always on the TV when I was younger, so I just think I always thought I was gonna get kidnapped or something.
I can't remember the person's name, but somebody that I knew was on that show. Really? Not in a good way.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, because I used to live in 3rd Ward, and it was crazy because I was like watching it one day and it just came on. And so I went to my buddy's house and I was like, dude, isn't this so-and-so? I wish I could pull their name out of my head. And he was like, wait, is he on a TV show? I said, yeah. And he's like, oh, that's not good. I'm like, yeah, that's probably means that this person was caught up in some nonsense. And we turned it on, and sure enough, it was the guy I thought it was. It was the neighbor down the street. And it was crazy. It was so surreal. But yeah, that show, man, I can't imagine watching that as a kid, because that's real stuff too. So you're just like, that's actually worse than a horror movie, bro. What are we talking about?
It's real.
Yeah,
it's real, and it's like I think that's why it was bad, because it's like real, and there's so many of these stories. So it's like I just figured it was bound to happen to me, even though I mean like these crimes are very common, but like it probably wasn't going to happen to me. I just like didn't understand that.
A lot of things about the world that people aren't understanding is that all we see is the negative stuff. We never see any of the positive. That goes with policemen, with criminals even. And so so we always hear everybody's getting kidnapped or assaulted or something, and you're thinking like, oh, that's crazy. And it's still a major problem. I'm not discounting that it's an issue.
No,
but we have these like skewed ideas of how often it happens and to how many people. And so, it makes everybody way more on edge and scared, was my point. So I can totally understand why that would have frightened you, especially as a young lady. I just can't even imagine. I can't imagine being a female right now. Like I mean, I look at my daughter and I go, huh? Like right now, right before I got on here with you, I literally was like, when I said, give me 5 minutes, I ran outside, but she's across the street at her friend's house.
Mm.
And I like walked on the street to go talk to her. And like, hey, you're still coming home at 6, right? Like blah blah blah. You know, you got your cell phone, right? It's turned on, right? Like just making sure, because even though there's nobody outside right now, it's just the neighbor lady and her kids. So she's, you know, she's with an adult, but
No, it's scary.
like you said, yeah, it's exactly right. It's scary. It's one of the reasons why I want to move. It's a much quieter, just in general place. But yeah, whenever I was thinking about the All Hallows Eve, I couldn't remember. First off, I couldn't remember how much he was featured in the movie. I was
Mhm.
under the impression, just based on my memory, that he wasn't featured very much. That's wrong, dude. He's all in this movie. Like he's
Mhm.
at the beginning and the middle and the end, which I think is pretty cool. I feel like Damien Leone had an idea in his head already that this character could be humongous, because he put him all in that movie, and he's featured
Yeah.
in his original short film because it's just a portion of this movie.
So I can actually tell you that's not true. Like he didn't think anything.
Never mind then, JK. Really?
Yeah, he said that he just created that character because like clowns are scary and like menacing, but like he didn't see anything special about it until people were pointing out like, hey, you've like tapped into something here. You should do something with this.
Man, I've watched a lot of David Howard Thornton interviews, but I think I've only seen 1 or 2 from, maybe 2 or 3 from Damien. I need to go back and do some reading and some watching,
Yeah.
because I didn't know that, and I should have known that. That's
Or at
great.
least, I mean, that's like, I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Because I just feel like right when I saw the character, even when I didn't care for the movie much, the character pops out, man.
Mhm.
And man, the guy that played him originally, he wasn't as well, like I said earlier, he wasn't as skinny. And so like all the little things that they did with that mask aren't as noticeable. They don't stick out as much.
Yeah.
That was one of the major. And then if you noticed in the movie, like the makeup only went down to like right here. So there was like a
I'm
flesh there.
actually, I'm looking at.
There's a bunch of like little things about the character that were different in this movie.
Yeah, I kind of don't like it as much. I'm
I
looking
do,
at
but
like,
only not as much. But I still like it quite a bit because it's different.
like that.
Yeah,
He's like, it's like bigger. Like he
yeah.
is
No, he's
big.
definitely like a stockier dude. Like he's a big fella.
I think
Uh,
it works better
with
as like a
skinny.
very skinny guy.
Yeah. No, David Howard Thornton is definitely, in my opinion, the better of the two. If you have to go objectively, I like the
Yeah.
fact that there's another one. I think I just kind of like the variance of having another one around. Not, and I
Yeah.
like the fact that it's an older movie, so I can go back and look at it. It's not something like we got David Howard Thornton and then they changed it, because I do think that he did a better job. So it would be pretty bummer to not have him anymore.
Yeah, but also it feels like two different characters. Like
Does it really? I
to
don't think
me,
it
yeah.
does.
But
Interesting.
like he like acts different to me in All
How
Hallows.
so? Because I didn't think he acted that much different. I was really surprised at how similar they acted. Because I think a lot of that's the director, even.
Yeah, I think it was just a lot more muted. Like it wasn't as over the top.
Okay, no, you definitely have a point there. It definitely was a lot more like drawn in, and
Yeah,
the reins were held a lot tighter. Because David
yeah,
does all kinds of kooky, weird shit, but like I think it's a plus. But there is like like an arc or a growth spurt, you might say. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like a what's it called? Learning curve. That's what it is. A learning curve with the character as like a director, even. Okay, well, let's do this stuff, and then if it works, they go a little more. And if it works, because I mean, if you look at all 3 movies, this definitely does this. I mean, it goes
Mhm.
All Hallows Eve, and then Terrifier is pretty crazy, but Terrifier 2 is absolutely nuts. Now, my favorite of the 3 is still Terrifier 1, not by a
Really?
lot though. Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah. Like I'm like you, where the first time I watched the first Terrifier, I didn't like it at
Isn't that
all.
weird?
Yeah, no, it is weird. I I don't know. I just was mad at it for some reason.
I hear that from young ladies enough. I hear that from
Yeah.
females
I
because
think I was
it's a pretty grotesque movie, but
yeah.
it is playing silly with a lot of like horror tropes. Because I mean, dude pulls out a gun, right? Like what that
Mhm.
doesn't happen in slashers. So like they're not taking it as serious either. But the end result, and I do think that that is a lot of why Terrifier 2 has who it has in it with Laura Laverna. Is it Laverna or Lavera?
I think it was the first one you said.
Laverna. either way, the young lady that plays the lead in the final girl in Terrifier 2, I think the reason that character even is who she is because that was probably the one complaint he got from Terrifier 1 a lot, was that it was really, I wouldn't call it sexist or misogynistic or anything. It was just dark. It was really, really dark.
It was probably, it was like hard on women. And I think that I don't know, I watched it during a time where like women were, and I don't know, there was like more of like a feminist movement happening.
Well, you're a young lady too, so you're at a whole different point in your life. You're becoming a woman at that age, a couple years ago when you're that age, and you're probably like just out of high school and stuff, not really even sure of who you are. And then you're watching this just gnarly movie. I could only imagine. I don't have any.
It just felt hateful, but I think that's the point because it's
I've heard that more than once. The word hateful from people about it. That's crazy.
But I will say, I love when he pulls out the gun.
Dude, that's one of my favorite parts.
Good. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, you can see all the Terrifier stuff I've got. I mean, this is.
Like, I know. I like the head.
Dude, my buddy Chris got that for me. I got so much Terrifier stuff in here. Like one of these days, whenever you make it over for a in-person podcast, you're gonna trip out, man. I got I have 3 posters on this side. I got 2 autographed pictures over there. I've got so much Terrifier stuff.
I want to get one of the Terrifier 2 shirts.
I've got a like a baseball shirt. You know, the ones with like the different colored sleeves. I've got one of those with the Terrifier. It's signed by Damien, so I don't really wear it. But and then I've got like a 1-of-1 custom piece of Terrifier art that this dude made. It's like a sculpture. It's awesome. Yeah, it's at my shop. Did you notice how good the prosthetic head was in this movie in All Hallows Eve?
The mask, whatever that they use for
like the dude's head that he pulls off. He cuts dude's head off. Remember? Oh, what was that guy? What's the guy doing? I
should have watched it again. I don't know why.
It's okay. We can do this whenever we want. That's the beauty of having my own channel. I can do it however I want to do it. Now, at one point, he's like you could hear him. He's sawing again, and I was like, oh, I know what he's doing. I could tell by the noise. And then the lady comes around the corner, and he's like cutting that dude's head off. And she starts going laughing, and he's cutting his head off. And when he pulls it up, it was a fantastic mold. And I thought, like, okay, that movie had to be made for almost nothing. And I just wanted to point out that the mold that they got for that dude's head was really good. Like whoever did that did a fantastic job.
It looked amazing. Damien. Like he's like the lead.
That's true, huh? He does a lot of the SFX stuff on these movies, huh? That guy's awesome, dude. I want to meet him so bad, like hang out with him.
I know, me too. Well,
if I can ever get him on this channel, that would be like, freaking. What's it called? What's the list called? When you have like what is it?
What list are you talking
about?
List.
A bucket list. It's like a bucket list thing, man. Check off, man. Having that dude on.
What was the convention you were talking about?
I went. There's coming up. I can't remember. Hold on. I'll just look it up real quick.
Because is he going to that?
I don't know. I don't think they're coming to Houston, but I know that I was hearing some stuff about October, but I'm not sure if that's guaranteed or not. But I know the girl and the brother from Terrifier 2 are both going to be at the one in Houston, and that's in August 11th, 12th, and 13th. So those 2 are definitely going to be there. So it wouldn't surprise me if those 2 also got added on later, David and Damien, because I think that's kind of what happened with this one is they were added on a little later. But
you should talk to the kid. Because he's like into
punk. That kid's awesome. I would love to talk to that kid. I've been watching him since way before he was in Terrifier.
Yeah, because he's like into punk music.
Yeah, he's a little punk rock metalhead kid, man. I saw him when he was real little. I was like, oh, this kid's cool. Because he was like interviewing people and he was all kind of like, I don't know, he's kind of nerdy like me. And he was like interviewing dudes and I was like, oh, I like this kid, man. And all of a sudden he pops up in Terrifier. I was like,
yeah, that's so fun.
Go figure, dude. But how'd you feel about the sister from Terrifier 2 as a character? Did you like her character at all?
Like the main character?
Yeah, the final girl chick.
I really liked her. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the costume was cool. She looks. She reminds me of my wife a little bit, like physically and visually. So like I was like, oh, that's dope. But there was a few things I didn't like about the character, but I thought overall, as a general public watching it, I thought it was probably a wise move. I did think the movie was a little too long, not by a lot, but. Yeah, it's a little too long, but I mean, I can only imagine, given the task of making this movie and then actually being able to make it however you want. Like, how do you trim out stuff? It's your baby, you know. Like, I just don't know how you do it. Like, this
Well, I
is
think
why you need an editor.
yeah, I think he said that he wanted it to be 2.5 hours just because he wanted it to be like he wanted to make a 2.5 hour long scary movie. Like,
That's
like slasher.
That's weird, man. That's
Yeah,
weird. That's a bold move.
I know. I wish that there were like actual reasons for it to be 2.5 hours. I feel like there weren't.
I agree.
Reasons.
And with him saying that he just wanted to make a 2.5 hour one, that surprises me a little bit. Because he's a pretty intelligent dude. Like everything I've heard about the guy and the little bit that I've read and saw about him, he's a pretty smart guy. I mean, clearly he is. He does most of this stuff by himself. So like, it's pretty hard to do all this and accomplish all this being kind of a dunce. You know, you got to be a fairly intelligent guy.
Yeah. Oh no,
really,
I think he's so smart because he's like, let's see, he's the director, writer, editor, special effects, producer.
Yes, I mean,
he literally is like doing everything.
That's how I feel with all the stuff that I do. Like everything that I do, I'm in charge of all of it, and not on the same scale, of course. But I mean, I do all my own writing, filming, editing, thumbnails, any kind of promo that I do. I also do the same thing with my store. I do the same thing with my label, and I also still work, obviously. And then I got the minions, but them's my reasons for doing all this and my little crazies. But do you remember the young lady in? We're taking it back to All Hallows Eve for a minute. The lady that got like mutilated.
Was that in the subway scene?
I can't remember where they were at, but he like cut off her breasts and her arms and her legs.
Oh, you're talking about in Terrifier 1?
No. In All Hallows Eve.
Oh, that happened in All Hallows Eve?
Dude, he cuts her to pieces. He like pulls her, like cuts her, like sews it all up, and she's got like stumps and shit. And he like cuts her and like sews her back up. And it says, and he like carves really gross words into her. I'm not going to repeat them on here because I don't want to get myself in trouble on YouTube. But like,
was it the babysitter character?
I think it was the babysitter.
Okay, so
man, I should have written that down because I don't remember who it was exactly. But yeah, it was towards probably like the last 30 minutes of the movie, maybe.
Okay, so it probably was the babysitter.
But he like cuts her up. I just couldn't believe how gnarly it was because it's on par with Terrifier 1. Like, I think that there was almost as much gnarly stuff in that movie as there was in... I mean, there was a lot of things that they took from this movie and put in Terrifier 1.
Yeah, I think I do remember that, where I was like, oh, I think they kind of redid these concepts in Terrifier 1.
Like, the art was here thing was in that movie. The cutting of the person with the hacksaw. The mutilated girl, which I think was kind of a Terrifier 2 even thing. Like, it really felt like T2 a little bit, but I think in the future, All Hallows Eve is going to be important. When I watched it, I was a little surprised at how good it really was because I didn't remember it being as good as Terrifier, and I don't think it is as good, I guess, but it was way better than I remembered it being.
Maybe I'd have the same opinion if I watched it again, but I remember. Like, I think for me, it goes like Terrifier 2, 1, and then All Hallows Eve.
And that's not a bad ranking. They're all so good, in my opinion, that none of them are bad. I think I still go 1, 2, then All Hallows Eve, but they're all super close. I mean,
did you watch the short, like the Terrifier short film?
Well, it's all that is a excerpt from All Hallows Eve. It's like a 15-minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I've never watched it, so
that's all it is. It's a pull from that. I think it's the part where he's got the dude's head off. I can't remember, but I know that's what it is. It's apart from that. I've only saw it once. It's like 15 minutes long or something like that. Yeah, dude. Yeah. What are they gonna do with Terrifier 3? Like, how do they make a third one of these? What's gonna happen?
I don't know. Like, how are they gonna make it grosser? You mean?
Well, I don't know that they can do that, but
I think they can. I have an idea.
Oh, good Lord! I want to know. I'm nosy.
Well, like, have you seen the remake of Suspiria?
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
I don't like either of those movies.
Oh my god, it's one of my favorites.
Is it really?
I love it.
Dude, all my buddies are gonna love you and hate me. They're going to put her on the damn show and get off of here, dude.
Well, I love witchy stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I like witchy stuff. I need to go back and rewatch them, I guess, man. I didn't like them much. And I do love Giallo movies, though, so I need to go back and give it a second chance. Or like a third chance, I guess.
Well, like there's a scene in the new
The
Suspiria,
new one? Okay.
where like this girl gets so mutilated that like spinal fluid starts leaking out of her. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't remember that.
With the mirrors.
Oh,
They
it is the. Oh, yeah. Okay, yes, I do know what you're talking about. Oh man, I need to go back and rewatch that.
they
I didn't
could
remember it being that
utilize
vulgar.
yeah, they could utilize spinal
Stuff like that.
fluid. Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, I'm just curious about story, like, because at a certain point, just being a gory movie is cool and all, but I already have that with Terrifier 1 and 2. Like, I don't need a third movie where it's just that. I need something of substance in it.
Well,
So I have a
did I tell you what I thought was gonna happen in Terrifier 2?
no.
I thought that it was gonna be revealed that Art was their dad. Is that I don't know if that's crazy, but like
No, that would make sense.
here's why I thought it was because they just kept saying small things that were hinting
About the dad.
their dad, like that he used to be their dad or something. Because I remember at one
Because he
point,
like knew who he was, huh?
yeah, like he was drawing him,
That
and
is pretty
like,
strange.
and also someone, I can't remember if it was the mom or one of the friends, was saying that like
Excuse me.
the dad got more abusive towards the daughter specifically,
Ugh.
and then Art was more abusive towards her specifically over the brother.
That's a good point. I never really thought about that.
And then also they said that he like drove into a power plant or something and like got electrocuted, the dad. I'm pretty sure that's what they I actually
Is that
wrote
what they said in the movie? Because that's so ridiculous.
no.
Like,
I feel like they kept bringing up the dad.
they brought him up a lot.
And then so I'm thinking from like a Chekhov's gun perspective, like why are they bringing this up if they're not going to do anything with it? So I'm like, oh well, he's their dad, right? And then because he also had like that weird daughter, like the clown daughter, and so I'm like, oh, it's like a metaphor. I don't know.
No, that little, what was they calling her? They called her something. That she had a name.
She was like one of his victims.
Yeah.
Here's my Letterboxd review of Terrifier 2.
Okay.
I said, why did I think there was going to be a big reveal that Art was the protagonist's father who used to draw comics but turned into a killer clown after crashing into a power plant?
I mean,
that's what I thought.
That makes a lot of sense, though. I mean, they
could
brought him up a lot. I thought he was going to show back up at some other point in the movie, but I wasn't thinking he was going to be Art. I like that, though. I wish that would be even cooler if he turned out the dad of all people came back and then like just got into mom and just and then he's like, yeah.
Because it did kind of seem personal with them.
It for sure did.
And but after I finished watching it, I think I realized
girl, sorry, that was her name. Do what?
Huh? I was like the timeline doesn't line up for him to be their father, I don't think.
Oh.
Based on what happened in Terrifier 1, but they could potentially retcon it in Terrifier 3 if they want to give him more of a backstory. But I don't think they will.
I do love the fact that horror movies can kind of just do whatever they want. And what are you going to say, dude? It's a freaking horror movie. Like,
right.
I can't believe that this guy did this. You're like, bro, the guy jumped off a building and didn't die. I'm sure it's all right that he was this other dude. Like, you know, whatever the scenario is that they're complaining about. But no, I was saying that the little girl's name was the pale girl. That's what they were calling her.
Oh, right.
She has her own mythos and stuff apparently now. Like,
well, she was from the carnival. Like, he killed her at the carnival.
Was that what it was?
I think
Man,
so.
my memory is so bad. I can't remember things. Like, I'll watch a movie 4 times and still not remember details about it.
Well, I just remember, I think that there was like a newspaper or something.
Yeah, the newspaper was in the daughter's bedroom. I like how they started the movie and then it, picks up right where Terrifier 1 leaves off. He goes into that laundromat. I just thought that was so clever. That was good writing.
Yeah, there's a lot of good scenes.
Makes me wonder how soon after the first movie that he thought of that.
Yeah.
I would think pretty soon after, because I mean, I don't know. Who knows, man? I would love to pick his brain a little bit, though. Try
to have him on.
Since this is our first time really talking like this outside of work, this is pretty easy. If you're having a good time, I'd love to have you on regularly every couple of weeks or something if you have the time. Gives us some other stuff to talk about. But what other movies are you interested in? Because that's basically how we come up with episodes. Is we just find movies that we like. Me and the fellas, we just rotate picking movies. So anytime you want to pick something, man, you just gotta let me know. I'm down for whatever. But what other stuff do you like? You said you like witch movies. Have you seen ooh, I know what we can do is you could help me figure out like a top 10 witch movie list.
Yeah.
Because I don't watch a lot of witch movies, not because I don't like them. I just don't know a lot of them.
I really like Robert Eggers. He did The Witch, Lighthouse, The Northman.
I love Robert Eggers, but I like The Witch is probably my least favorite movie of his, but I've gotten to respect it. You're gonna hate me at the end of this conversation. Like
no, I won't.
I hated that movie for a long time. I thought it was super boring, and I still think it's pretty boring. But I like it better now than I used to.
It's really slow. Yeah.
It's very slow. But my best friend, like, he loves that movie, and I had to go. So when I finally started liking it, it was the first time I saw it in a theater because the first time I watched it wasn't at a theater, and so by the time I got to watch it at Alamo, like maybe like 8 months ago. And when I saw it in a theater, it was a whole different experience. I was like, okay, that makes way more sense that people would like this movie, seeing it on the big screen. Because watching it at your house is honestly, it's pretty pretty mid, man. There's not a lot going on.
I disagree. I
disagree. Shut the fuck up, Randall.
I think it's my favorite out of the 3 movies.
Probably his as well, my buddies.
Well, like it's slow, but I appreciate his attention to detail with like.
There's a lot of that going on.
And also, I like how in the Lighthouse too, it's kind of like obscure, where like you don't really know if these things are happening or not, or if they're just kind of like hallucinating it all. And like, what's the word? Like. Hysteria, like
no, that's true. The Lighthouse is a whole different conversation because I love that movie. Like I have that one. I have a giant, like literal, like theater poster on my wall in my dining room for the Lighthouse. That's the one that I like the most is the Lighthouse. The Northman is I really like it a lot. Very different, very different. I thought it was going to be one thing, and I got something way different. But I just thought it was a really good movie. I don't know. The Witch is probably a better movie, I guess. I had a lot of problems with The Witch the first couple times that I watched it. I've come around on it a lot, and I think I still have. I think I even own a copy of it. I'd be a little surprised if I didn't. But I've got all my stuff's kind of in a mess right now. But yeah, we should do like a witch ranking a movie. God, I can't talk. Witch movie rankings video at some point. That'd be kind of fun. What are your favorite movies of all time? Do you have a list of them? Just like a few that you you just go back to all the time?
Like scary movies?
That's all I really watch. So yes, horror movies would be.
Let me consult my Letterboxd.
Come on, Letterboxd. Yeah, hey, I'll put your Letterboxd in the thing too. Follow me on Letterboxd and vice versa. I'll follow you as well because I also do Letterboxd.
Yeah, it's like pretty much the only social media I use. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It's probably smart and healthy.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
The first few times that we talked, like I didn't know if we were going to get along. You were very nice, but I just, I didn't know if we had anything in common. And like, I'm a real talkative person, so I like to figure out real quick, like, okay, is this person somebody I can get along with or not? And like all of a sudden, like I think it was the first time you were kind of bored and you came to the front bar. And I don't remember what we were talking about, but you talked about movies, and it was so apparent very quickly that you enjoyed them a lot and that you had some knowledge. And I was pretty impressed by that because a lot of people your age don't. And I thought that's pretty rad, man. Somebody I can.
That's how I spend a lot of my time.
That's awesome. Like Brian, me and Brian became friends. I didn't know if I was going to like him either, but like he's like probably my best friend up there. And we started talking about MMA all of a sudden. I was like, this fool watches the same shit I watch. That's crazy. Like it's pretty neat, man.
MMA sometimes.
Do you? Really. I watch it. I watch every weekend. I watch every pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, I only watch the ones that are like I'm really
super interested in.
Yeah, like Kimaev. I think that's his last name.
Hamzat?
Yes.
Yeah, that guy's wild. Crazy. You like Hamzat, huh?
Yeah.
Let's go. Hamzat's the shit, dude. I killed everybody. That dude's
Yeah,
wild.
he's crazy. Oh wait, okay. A scary movie, I guess you could say, that I really, really like, that like made me emotional the first time I watched it, was Possessor by Brandon Cronenberg.
Wow. Okay.
Which is
Dude, I can't wait for my buddies to watch this episode of this show because that just blew my mind. I don't think any of us cared about Possessor the first time we watched it. Although I will say that after the first time I watched it, going back and rewatching it, I liked it way more than I did. Is that what you liked about it? It's like visually.
Yeah, I thought it was like because I went into it thinking it was just gonna be some like shitty body horror movie, because like I didn't know that it was a Cronenberg, you know, like I didn't know a Cronenberg directed it.
That's a big difference, isn't it? Finding out it's a Cronenberg film, even though it's his son.
So I'm watching it and like when they
shitty body horror movie.
yeah. And so wait, do you know like when I'm trying to think of how to explain it because I don't want to like spoil anything.
Dude, that movie's like 4 years old. You can spoil whatever you want.
I guess so.
No, we don't worry about spoilers on this channel unless it's something like real new.
Like how he portrayed the like going into someone else's body. You know what I'm talking about?
That's pretty gnarly.
With like the wax. It was like wax melting almost.
Yeah, it was.
I thought that was like really beautiful.
The movie was visually like pretty jarring. Like I was like, whoa.
It was very jarring. And I watched the director's cut on.
How different do you think it was? The director's cut? I don't know that it was that much different.
I've only seen the director's cut.
Oh, okay. I like. What else did he do? He did another movie, didn't he?
Yeah, he did Infinity Pool recently.
That's right. That was his movie. How'd you feel about that movie?
I really liked it, but
I did too.
Not as much as Possessor.
Interesting.
Maybe I'll have to watch it again, but like
I watched it in theaters twice. I took my wife to go see it, and we were like, "Whoa!" As a matter of fact, the first time I watched that, I think was with her, and we were like, what the fuck was that?"
Yeah, no, it's his movies are very weird, but like I think I actually prefer Brandon to his father. If that, I don't know if that's like.
Oh wow, it's very. I would say that's pretty controversial.
What did David do recently? It was.
He did that. I hated that movie.
It was Crimes of the Future.
Movies.
Oh my god, I hated that.
Yeah, dude, we're best friends now. That movie is so. Look, I don't know that I hated it. I just didn't care about it. And my buddies were like, they think it's like one of the best movies of the last year. I'm pretty positive that they were talking about it being like one of their favorites of that year. Was it last year or was it this year? That was last year. Like, I mean, I don't hate the movie. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I do. But I just wasn't. I thought. To me, I don't think I even. I think I was feeling kind of bored, but I also just didn't really. Like, I was just like, what's the big deal of this movie? I don't know. Nothing spoke to me. I didn't feel. It was kind of boring. Yeah, like I do want to rewatch it, but I never. Every time I sit down to go watch something, that is not what I'm picking. I'm like, okay, I'd rather just go watch Scream again, and I've seen that 56 times. Like,
yeah, I think the movie that I rewatched the most is Signs by M. Night Shyamalan.
Dude, this is such a different conversation than I've ever had with any of my old head buddies. Dude, I love Signs. That movie's awesome.
Oh my god, that's like my favorite. It's been my favorite for like a long time because I watched it with my mom when I was pretty young.
Yeah.
I was like really scared of that's like why I started to take really long showers, because I was like, I'm safe in here. Like the aliens can't get me. But yeah.
You know what? I mean, that is a fact. I wonder how my little man's gonna feel about Insidious in like 10 years. Because that's a good point. He watched that with me when he was real young, and I think that's gonna be an important movie to him when he's older. Especially if he ends up being like a movie nerd like me.
Yeah, it's a good first scary movie, I think, because it's like PG-13, but it's like very scary.
Dude, it was like so much better than I remembered it being. I think I watched it once, way back when, and I was like, meh. And I didn't care about any of the sequels either. I was never a big fan of anything from The Conjuring or Insidious. And I will say that I do think the Insidious stuff is way better than the Conjuring stuff.
I was going to say, I think that Insidious, that one was scarier to me than The Conjuring. And like maybe it was like circumstances of me watching it. Like I was younger when I watched Insidious, so maybe that's why. But like there's that one scene where the demon's behind Patrick Wilson, like that's like so scary, and like nothing really scared
I
me
love
like
stuff
that.
like that. When you see something coming and the person on the screen doesn't, and you're like, oh no. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think horror movies are so personal for people though, because
Yeah.
every little thing is a factor. So like just like you just said, you love Signs, right? Most of my friends would go, "Oh, that movie's kind of bad." I love that movie, but I like it for many different reasons, right?
But like, how is it bad? Like, it's so good. I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, I know M. Night
I think
Shyamalan's
people
like
just
very
hate. I think
polarizing.
people just hate on M. Night Shyamalan is what it really boils down to. But his last
But
movie was
that
freaking
was
amazing.
that was still in his prime, though. To me, like
No, I agree.
prime.
I think that people don't take those as seriously as they do other movies. Is my point. Like, I'd have to ask my friends what they feel about it because I can't remember if they liked Signs or not. I think they might, but something being that it being a movie that is ranked that high is probably a little more common with somebody your age. I think maybe because you saw it at such a young age. Because I was already an adult when I saw that movie for the first time. I like it though, but yeah, but like I was saying, everything is so personal that when you ask somebody, hey, what movies do you like? They're going to give you a very large array of different answers. There's going to be like as an example, 2 movies that I put in my horror movie section that people always question. Actually, 3: Beetlejuice, Jurassic Park, and Return to Oz. All 3 of those are in my horror section, and I get weird looks for Beetlejuice, not as much as the others, but that was the first movie that ever gave me a nightmare. I was a real little kid when I watched it, and I had terrible nightmares about that movie.
Well, Jurassic Park is like actually scary, and
Dude, thank you.
It's filmed like a horror movie, so
It's a bunch of monsters trying to kill people. It's a
yeah,
fucking horror movie. Like, what are
it's
we
very
talking about?
scary.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jurassic Park is terrifying.
I have like a section in my letterbox of like all the movies I watched for Halloween, like the most recent Halloween.
Okay.
I watched 28.
Wow, that's a lot. I watch man, if I told you how many movies I watch every month, you would just shake your head at me.
I don't know. I watch a lot of movies.
I eclipse 28 easily. I probably watch double that every month. Like yesterday, I watched 3 movies.
Well,
and I worked yesterday at Alamo.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah. I mean, I could easily do that. I've just been watching a lot of shows recently.
See, that's me and my buds. We basically don't do that. I don't watch shows because I'll get sucked in and I'll spend 10 movies worth of time watching one television show, and it just ruins my whole like rhythm of getting movies watched and trying to review them. I do a lot of really like low budget B movie stuff. Like the longer you get to know me, the more you'll find out. You probably won't like a lot of the stuff that I really, really, really like, but not a lot of folks do, and I'm have to be okay with that, based solely upon what it is that I do like. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. Have you seen Possum? I don't know if that's B. I don't think it's B, but
no. But I mean, I watch a lot of other things that aren't B movies. Hold on one second. I think I have that movie.
It's Sean Harris is the main guy.
What's it about?
It's about a guy.
Here, I can hear you still. I'm looking at my shelf. One second. Keep talking.
He has a puppet that's like really scary, and it just like follows this guy. I don't really want to say too much.
Oh yeah. I've seen that.
That one's good. I'm never gonna watch it again though.
No, it's taxing.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough watch, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a I don't have a copy of it, but I do know what you're talking about. Yes. Yeah. What's the guy's name? Because I recognize that dude.
Sean Harris.
What's he from?
He was in like one of the Mission Impossible. Not
yeah, he was.
One, but a couple of them.
Dude, that's a pretty deep cut. There it is.
Yeah, I've got some deep cuts.
Yeah, I had it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that movie is pretty weird.
Yeah, I'm never gonna watch it again, ever.
How come?
It just made me feel bad on the inside.
Come on now. That was the best comment that I've had all day on anything. It just made me feel bad on the inside. I'm good. I'm not watching that hot garbage again.
You might like this movie called Climax.
I love that movie.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. It's like basically like one take.
I don't love that movie. I like that movie, but I do own it.
I liked it. Yeah, I'll also never watch that again. But
that one's a hard one for me to watch again. Wait,
It
is
was
Climax
really
the one
stressful.
where they're dancing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I won't watch that one very many times in my life. But see, like, this is the kind of shit that I'm into right now. Like old, hard to find, weird Japanese shit. Like
Oh yeah.
samurai punk, and like this one's so obscure it doesn't even have back art. Look at that shit. It's just like
Yeah.
it's called
Yeah.
Panic in High School. Like
I
just
don't. Yeah.
weird shit, man.
I don't think this is Japanese. I think it's Korean, but I want to watch
Oh, I
this
love
movie
Korean
called
movies.
Old Boy.
You've never seen Old Boy?
No, I
Ooh!
have a list.
Man, hold up, Kennah. We're gonna have to have some talk, sweetheart. This Old Boy is gonna mess you up. That is a dark movie.
That's what I've heard, but I've heard
Yes.
it's really good. I
No,
also
it is
watch,
very, very good. Oh man,
I
I
also
can't wait.
watched Taxidermia.
I don't know that one.
It's like let me see. It's foreign. I think it's Polish or something.
I'm into that. I can't wait to talk to you after you watch Old Boy. Like sincerely, I'm pretty psyched about
Yeah,
that.
I should watch that soon.
That dude makes a lot of great movies though. Like, have you ever heard of Takashi Miike? Have you heard of what would be the best movie, or not best, but biggest movie he's done? Hold on. He's my favorite non-American director. No, Bong Joon-ho is. Have you seen that movie called The Host?
Okay, I watched like 45 minutes of it and then
This
I
one?
forgot to finish it. I didn't finish it.
It's
I
so
didn't finish
good.
it. I was just like really distracted while I was watching it. So
Yeah, movies like that are hard to watch if you're distracted.
yeah, so I need to like rewatch it from the beginning. But I love I love Parasite and Snowpiercer.
Let's go. I used to hate Snowpiercer. I just recently watched it again about
I love
6-7
it.
months ago, and I liked it a lot better than I used to like it. But Parasite is one of my probably top 15 movies of all time.
Yeah.
It's one, and like look, if I say top 15, a lot of people will be like, top 15, dude, that's big, because top 15 for me, like I have stuff that I love that's in my top 100. Like,
yeah,
I watch a lot of movies, and so like a top 15, that's you hard to get in that one. I mean, Terrifier,
yeah.
the fact that it took my top spot, I think people need to understand how important that is to somebody like me, because Scream was my favorite movie for like probably 20 years. And then, Terrifier took its spot, and it just basically switched, you know. But
Yeah.
Takashi Miike did. Oh, Ichi the Killer. Have you seen Ichi the Killer?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, I can. If you ever want like movies to watch, just shoot me a text and go, "Hey, throw me a movie that you don't think I've seen before," and I'll come up with something.
Yeah. Well, I have like a big watch list of things.
What else on it? Throw me a few of them that are on there.
Some of these haven't come out yet, but
Oh, you got some new stuff coming. That's what's up.
yeah. I want to see Nosferatu by Robert Eggers.
Yeah, I'm not sure how excited I am about that one, but I'm likely going to sit down and watch it. I would imagine.
I have Cecil B. Demented.
Yeah, I had that on VHS.
Nice. Absentia.
I don't know that one.
Tigers Are Not Afraid.
I've got that if you want to borrow it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. The Devil's Candy.
I don't know that one.
Land.
Strangeland is all right.
I still haven't seen the original Suspiria, so I should probably watch that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You'll probably like it if you like the new one.
Yeah. It's a lot shorter too, so.
Yes, I'm a short movie person. I like short movies the best.
Yeah. I think I prefer them, but I'm okay with I don't know. I
don't like 3-hour long, like I'm over those kind of movies, man. Like I didn't like Beau is Afraid very much. I didn't dislike
I didn't see that yet.
Man, I would love to hear your opinion on that one. Whenever you watch that one, tell me.
Yeah, I want to watch it, but I'm also scared to watch it.
Man, I don't understand what all the hubbub's about. I thought it was super okay. Like,
yeah.
I was just like, that's what it was. I spent 3 hours watching that. All right. Can't get that time back.
Yeah.
It's not a bad movie. It's pretty cool looking, and it's got a lot of funny shit in it. So, but I was expecting it to be super crazy. And when I watched it, I was like, okay, I mean, it was kind of weird, but it wasn't what I would consider super, super crazy. But I have a buddy who watched it, and it fucked him up for like hours, man. He was just not not happy with that one. And then he also took a lady to watch it. And I was like, that is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've heard things about that.
How about did you ever watch the Joaquin Phoenix Joker?
I did.
What'd you think about that?
Thought it was mid. It was kind of mid.
I don't think I thought it was mid, but I don't watch it again. It was a super depressing movie. It was expertly made, but it messed me up in my head. I couldn't watch that one again.
It was a little too not for me, I guess.
I mean, so I think people need to understand that that's how this stuff works, though. It's not everybody's gonna like everything.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the sequel? It's gonna be like a musical.
It's a musical? I know Lady Gaga's in it.
Yeah, that's why she was cast in it.
Well, she's a very good actress, so her actor.
I think that she's like low key kind of hot too. Like I like Lady Gaga. Her music's awesome.
She's beautiful.
She's got rad music, man. She's got good songs.
Yeah.
Not the kind of music I would normally listen to either. You know what would be hilarious? So you know how Quentin Tarantino, are you a fan of his?
Yeah.
So you know how he's fixing to make his last movie?
Yes.
How funny would it be if he came out and made like some bonkers ass horror movie as his last movie and
he will never do that
and just pissed off all the like movie snob folks?
Yeah,
dude. Because if I was Quentin Tarantino, I would make like Planet Terror 2 because that's like the one that everybody hates.
he didn't direct that, did he?
Wait, no, he did. No, he did Death Proof. He did Death Proof. I just looked over my shoulder and saw Planet Terror poster, and I was like, "Oh, that was that other one." No, it was Death.
What was the double feature with?
Yeah, I've got both of the posters right here. I don't know why I said Planet Terror. I know that's not which one it was. I think
that was Robert Rodriguez.
Yes. I told you I got to meet Tom Savini, huh?
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, dude, I got his autograph on a movie and a photo with him.
Who is that again?
From Dusk Till Dawn. You seen it?
I actually didn't see that one.
Oh, I'm gonna fire you. You're fired. You can't come back to Alamo no more. I'll send you a picture of him in a minute. You'll recognize him. He really came to fame from doing visual effects. He did a lot of like physical gore. Like, have you seen the original Friday the 13th?
Actually, no.
Really?
It's one of those things. It's one of those things that I haven't seen.
That's kind of amazing though. Because you're gonna hate it. You're gonna hate that movie. You're gonna be like, "What? This is what people love." It's gonna be so funny when you watch that, because it's gonna be so underwhelming because you've already seen Terrifier 2. So I think,
those movies are a lot slower. So.
Dude, I love talking to you, man. This is amazing. Because I also don't like those movies, but I think it's probably for the same kind of reasons.
But you have to watch them, you know.
I feel obligated. Yeah, I feel obligated to watch them all. But he did a lot of famous stuff. Have you seen the movie Maniac by any chance? That was pretty kind of a deep cut.
Maniac?
There's a remake too with Elijah Wood, but the original one has one of the best physical car murder scenes of all time.
I haven't seen it.
It's a pretty rough watch. It's gnarly. But there's a lot of stuff I could show you. A lot of movies. Man, I could waste a lot of your time. Give you a list of shit that would never end. I'll bring what was that one you said a second ago? Tigers Are Not Afraid. I'll bring a copy of that to work. You can just have it because I got an extra copy.
Okay, cool.
If you don't, I'm sure actually, based on what you've told me so far, I think you'll probably like that movie quite a bit.
Okay, good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to bring things around full circle, excuse me. What ultimately is your opinion on All Hallows Eve, and where do you think it's gonna stand in the future, as far as like what's its legend gonna be? Is it gonna be an important movie in the future, or is it just gonna fall the wayside and have Terrifier 1 be the one that's on the pedestal?
I think it's tough to say because to me, like, I'm a huge Terrifier fan, and like I don't think you need to watch it if you're not a huge fan of Terrifier. Like I think if you're just going to see it, to like see Terrifier 3 or whatever, unless you're really into the story and like the lore of then like I don't think you really need to watch it. But if you're like a big fan and like if Terrifier does become the cult classic that I think it will be, then like I think it'll be important to like those fans.
I kind of already think that Terrifier has become a certified cult classic already. I don't see how it could not be based on the fact that Terrifier 2 did so well. And I think Terrifier, okay, so what I think is going to happen is this. I think that ultimately Terrifier 1, because so like any given weekend at my store, I have, let's say, 100 people come in and out of my store, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say only like 15% of those people have even seen Terrifier. Out of all of those, I'd say maybe 1 out of every 6 months has seen All Hallows Eve. So what I think is going to happen is all of the real horror fans, quote unquote, are going to gravitate towards All Hallows Eve. I would say semi-casuals will go towards Terrifier because to them that'll be a deep cut. And you'll have that. So I think ultimately Terrifier will be the one that's put up on the pedestal the highest. But I think the old school crazy horror nuts like myself, even kind of like I feel like you're becoming, will ultimately gravitate towards All Hallows Eve because it is the original. And I don't think it really actually matters. It's just a topic of conversation. I don't think anybody's going to really care. I think there's enough room for both of them to exist in their own space, and everybody love what they love. And I think it's cool that I'm having a good time talking to you and getting to know you and talking horror movies and stuff. And you know, it's enjoyable to work around somebody that's I've got something in common with. So I do appreciate you hanging out with me today for a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Don't hang up quite yet. Everybody else, I'll see y'all soon. By the time you've watched this, you'll have already seen the movie night live. We'll have that. That is Demons. I'll be going live here in about, I don't know, 2.5 hours, my bud. So you'll see that before you see this one. But if you got a recommendation or request, throw it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, of course. You got to do that. That's mandatory. But you'll likely see Kennah back at some point soon, I would hope. And otherwise, just have a great day. We'll see y'all later. Peace.